Tucker Carlson slammed Mike Huckabe for supporting an Israel-first foreign policy and a war with Iran. Contrary to what most Americans want, no American who voted for Trump voted for this. But it's still Netanyahu and the Israel lobby trying to direct the U.S. foreign policy. This conversation got heated between these two. Let's watch and talk about it. Please don't forget and like the video and subscribe to the channel.
I don't think any of the concerns that you've just raised, which I think are all real, I'm not disputing them at all, are even in like the top 100 for Americans. So how can the U.S. government be spending this much time and money worrying about things that are not on the list of Americans' concerns? Do we have self-government? Does it matter what Americans actually think, or doesn't it?
Of course it does, but it also matters.
How much does it
what
matter?
the threat is to Americans. Do you think there's a threat to Americans because of the proliferation of the proxies in Iran?
Conceivably there is.
Years?
I'm not pro-Iran.
But beyond conceivably, do you think that they mean it when they say for 47
drug cartels like in my town, and no one's doing anything about it at all?
You
and I'm hearing a lot about
doing anything about that?
No one's doing anything about it at all. Okay, that's a fact. We have a huge country. This is a country the size of New Jersey with no resources. It's just a tiny little country. We're from a huge continental-sized country that's totally diverse, very, very hard to manage and police, and we have a lot of problems. And I just think if you ask Americans, what do they want to spend their time and money worrying about, fixing, improving? No one's going to mention the border with Lebanon that I know. Do you think?
I doubt they will. But
then why are we doing this? Don't their opinions matter?
I would like to think that there are people that the U.S. government has monitoring what the threats are.
I agree with Tucker there. In many other places in America where this money can be invested, education, infrastructure, street, homelessness, etc. Most Americans doesn't care about war with Iran. There's enough problem in the USA where this money could have been much more of an impact in American lives.
To Americans long term.
Sure, yeah, I agree.
Do you think there's a threat? The question is, when people tell you for 47 years, well, but I don't know that Saddam ever said he was going to take down America. But the Iranian regime has said for 47 years they are. If they had the capacity of a long-range ballistic missile and nuclear capability, do you think they'd light that puppy up and send it to us?
I don't know. But I know.
Well, I know this from sitting here last year, 4 wars that I went through in less than a year. The Iranians rained down ballistic missiles.
Can I ask you a question? Like, how much does it matter what?
Well, he just said it. It's a hypothetical. This has not happened and hopefully never will. But I was all in on Trump when Trump attacked the first time last year. It was short and sweet. There was no casualties, and now it's a different story. This could be a full-blown war. This all now being done, and it's obvious because Israel wants it to happen. The average American has no interest in this, and they told us that Iran shouldn't have nuclear weapons, and I agree. But now it just seems like a regime change because Iran is more of a threat to Israel than it will ever be for Americans. And now we have the troops on the ground. Trust me, the American people did not vote for this, but Huckabee is trying to sell it to you, and it's obviously not in the American interest.
Americans think.
Well, it matters every bit what Americans think. That's why Americans vote. It's why Americans have the opportunity to have free speech. We want them to have that.
Okay, so what percentage of Americans support a war with Iran?
I don't know. Do you know?
I do. I think it's around, I saw the numbers yesterday. I think it was like 21%.
Okay.
Is that enough to have a war with Iran?
We don't live in a world where you have a poll taken to find out whether our policy should be a particular direction. Because
I thought you just said that
that's direct democracy. No, we care deeply about it. But on the other hand, do we make the decisions of foreign policy and even domestic policy based on
we
what
care
the latest
deeply about it? In what
is?
sense? If we're ignoring it, then in what sense do we, quote, care deeply about it?
Well, I think we care deeply when we see there's a threat.
No, but about Americans' opinions. So you've got 350 million Americans. Yeah. They voted in this last election on the basis, in part, of the promise no more wars. Okay, so now we're about to have a war. Looks like 80% of people are against it. In that range, let's say 70%, but nowhere near majority support for this war. And it's not direct democracy, but it is a form of democracy. It's representative democracy.
The ultimate form of democracy in our system, in a republic, because we're not a true democracy, we're a republic.
Exactly, right? It's a mediated democracy.
It'll be an opportunity for Americans to vote if they think that we've made the wrong policy decisions. I personally think the president is making the right policy decisions.
But I guess, but you just said it matters deeply what Americans think. And if the overwhelming majority are against it, in what sense does it matter? Because what I hear is it matters what they think, but it really doesn't matter what they think because...
No, you take it in, you certainly ingest that.
And then what do you do with it once you ingest it?
Then you make sure that you have... No,
you just gotta... It goes out the other end, obviously.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't, Tucker. But you also have information that the average American may not have. They may not know what the threat is. How many Americans know that Hezbollah is in 12 Western Hemisphere countries?
How many Americans care?
Well, I would hope they would all care. How many Americans know how many people from Iran, from terrorist cells, have come across Joe Biden's open border? How many Americans care about that? I definitely
care about that.
Okay, you care about it.
Why haven't they been rounded up?
But they're trying. But you got all these blue state mayors and governors making it very difficult.
I get it.
But thank God President Trump is trying to get it done.
Look, I'm totally all for that completely.
Okay.
I guess what I'm saying is that most Americans, I've never met an American who thinks, other than like the people who have ideological reasons to pretend they think it, that the imminent threat to America is anything having to do with Iran. The imminent threats to America include like bankruptcy from too much debt, your son ODing on fentanyl, your neighborhood completely changing because unlike Israel, Americans don't have a right to their country. It can just be completely changed by their legislature. New people can show up from foreign countries and not speak your language, and there's nothing you can do about it because you don't have a right because you're not Bibi. Can you feel the resentment? Because it's real. I'm not against Israel. I'm against the total destruction.
You hide that very well.
I'm mad at my lawmakers for not protecting my country with the care they've protected Israel.
I don't think that your country, my country, our country, has spent that much time protecting Israel. I asked you a little bit ago.
They spent no time protecting my country.
No, I asked you, well, actually they do.
How?
They are the tip of the spear. Every enemy they have is our enemy.
Our country?
Things that are targeted toward us often go through them.
How do we have 60 million illegal aliens if they protected my country?
Well, that we didn't protect our country because we had a president that opened up the borders and didn't give a rip.
This has been going on since Reagan.
Coming in.
Since Reagan, 1986.
Yeah, but
that's 40 years
President
this year.
Trump the credit for having closed the border.
I love the fact, I campaigned for Trump because he said he would close the border. He did. Amen. Thank you, Trump. But we had Reagan. Then we had Bush. Then we had Clinton. Then we had Bush again. Ugh. Then we had that guy, Obama. And then, you know the presidents.
Yeah.
And they all presided over my country's total transformation from a nice, clean, affluent, orderly society into like pretty kind of third world, actually. That's not protecting us. That's behaving with total contempt for my country.
You said a moment ago that we do more.
This is true. The erosion of the immigration system has been going on for years, decades. Every president from Reagan to Biden has been pro-immigration, which I am too. I'm an immigrant myself, but it has definitely gotten out of control, especially the 4 years that Biden opened the borders. The estimate on the low end is 10 million illegals that have come in. On the high end is 20 million. That's a lot of people. That's why Trump is scrambling to deport them all. But with all these blue states governor, and it's almost next to impossible. They have paid agitators causing all kinds of trouble. Just look at Minnesota these past few months. It was chaotic, to say that.
That's not protecting us. That's behaving with total contempt for my country.
You said a moment ago that we do more, or you inferred that we do more for Israel than we do for ourselves. Do you believe that?
No, I don't. I didn't say we do more for Israel. It's like, but where's the care? Where's the concern? Where's the, holy smokes, there are drug cartels in your neighborhood? You're telling me about the border with Lebanon and like Hezbollah or Hezbollah, whatever you call it, in some Latin American country? I don't care. There are drug cartels in my neighborhood. I know people who've died of fentanyl ODs.
Where'd the fentanyl come from? Probably from China.
From Mexico.
From China through Mexico.
The precursor chemicals, they say, come from China. I get it.
And who's in that axis with China? Iran.
Larry Fink is in that axis with, no, actually, the heads of our biggest corporations are in that axis with China. I don't care about Iran at all. I care about America. And if blowing up Iran makes my country richer and safer, I'm for it. And if it doesn't, I'm totally opposed. It's that simple. I think most Americans feel that way, no?
I asked you a question a little bit ago you never got back to, because I think it's an important one. Because one of the things that I sense a tension with you, you feel like that we do too much for Israel, we're getting nothing from it. And I ask you, how many
No, I don't think we're getting nothing.
How many boots on the ground has the U.S. placed on behalf of Israel?
However many went to Iraq. We did that for Israel.
No, I don't think we did.
But you said we did it because of 9/11?
That was the U.S. justification for it.
But it wasn't for 9/11. So what was the actual reason?
Well, that's the U.S. government told.
Benjamin Netanyahu came to the United States as a regional expert and testified in Congress in the early 2000s, and he urged us to displace and remove Saddam Hussein. He said that doing so will bring peace to the Middle East. Israel wanted this, make no mistake about it, and of course all the neocons at that time wanted it too. They defended and argued against their own official document that this would be good for Israel. They didn't just use weapons of mass destruction as an argument, but also the humanitarian concerns. These are all arguments used by the neocons of the times like Richard Pearl, David Wormser, and of course, Dick Cheney.
Told us it was for 9/11. They told us that they were part of it, that they had weapons of mass destruction.
But they knew they had nothing to do with 9/11, obviously. There's no evidence.
But
so what was the actual
Israel was not in that component. But
Israel had no influence on our decision to invade Iraq. That's not what the people who made the decision say. They say Israel.
Well, let me get back to the point.
Gave us that information about the fake weapons of mass destruction. Where do you think that came from? It came from Bibi.
How many Americans put their boots on the ground for Israel? The answer is zero.
Everybody who served in Iraq put their boots on the ground for Israel.
Did not.
Where did we get the information about the weapons of mass destruction that wasn't real?
We didn't get that from. You're saying we got that from Israel? That Israel was one pushed us into that?
Well, absolutely.
You really believe that?
I know that for a fact. And so does every. Yes, this has been widely written about and discussed. And I'm not attacking Israel. Like, they thought it was in their interest to take out a government that was paying the families of suicide bombers. I get it. I'm not mad at Israel about that. I never have been. I'm mad at the Bush administration and all the people who went along with this to the detriment of my country. That's who I'm mad at, not Israel. Bibi's doing what he can for his country, whether you agree with him or not. I want my leaders to do the same for my country. That's it.
I think the present leadership is doing just that. I truly do. And I don't think that it's at all accurate to even intimate that tiny little Israel is pushing the U.S. into something it does not want to do.
Our leaders appear to want to do it. Our public does not want to do it at all. The public does not want war with Iran. Bibi does. He's gotten seven trips to the White House. The average American
question would be,
hold on. The average American doesn't have that level of access, and a foreign leader does. 7 in 1 year, and now we're moving toward war with Iran. The average American doesn't want that war. The average American is outraged. Don't you understand?
I'm not attacking Bibi at all. The
I'm
strongest president I've ever seen in my lifetime, going back to Eisenhower, for gosh sake.
If you're an American,
no, listen to me, Tucker, for gosh sake.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Netanyahu does seem to have a lot more control over our foreign policy than Americans. It's obvious to anyone who's paying attention. In case anyone is wondering, Netanyahu has been in the White House 7 times since 2025. And as reported by his primary focus has been joint U.S.-Israeli strategies against Iran's nuclear infrastructure and regional activity.
I'm not attacking Trump. I like Trump.
I know, but you're making it sound like that he is being pulled into something that he really doesn't want to do, or pulled into something because he's persuaded.
I'm neither saying that nor implying.
I was in the meeting last week. I was in the meetings last summer. I can assure you, President Trump is not being led into something at all by Prime Minister Netanyahu.
To be clear, I'm neither saying that nor implying it.
Good.
What I am stating out loud is true, and that's that Prime Minister Netanyahu, Bibi Netanyahu, has way more influence over Americans' foreign policy than Americans do. And we know this because he wants a war with Iran. The overwhelming majority of Americans don't want a war with Iran, and we're very likely to get a war with Iran. So who has more influence, Benjamin Netanyahu or 80% of Americans? And I'm saying that's outrageous. That's all I'm saying.
I would counter that. Bibi Netanyahu does not want a war with Iran. To say that he wants a war, you know who's going to be at the very front of that? His people. And I don't agree with that. I'm with him enough to know he does not want a war.
He doesn't.
Does he think that there may be a necessity of taking a war in order to prevent an attack on not just Israel,
I
but
don't
on
want to
the
be
United
argumentative,
States?
but I think I know too much. I mean, let's be real. Okay, so there was, Steve Witkoff and
Mike Huckabe sounds very much like Israel First by saying Netanyahu doesn't want this war because his people will suffer. I don't think he really cares about his people suffering. His objective is to take down Iran, their nemesis. Civilian life is not something that he's worried about, at the very least not the American lives. And now we have boots on the ground there. Our troops will be the primary target of Iran at that point. I think this time versus the last USA attack will be much different. Last year's attack was swift and no lives were lost during the operation. I'm not so sure about this time. If this happens again, especially if they don't warn the United States like they did last time, I don't know. But all Netanyahu wants is a regime change. He doesn't care if they get U.S. troops killed. His goal is the regime change in Iran. Come hell or high water, he's going to do it. But he knows he cannot get it done without the help from the United States. Just so you know, they tanked the negotiation by going from demand of the no nuclear weapons program, where Iran is willing to negotiate, to all of a sudden you can't have uranium enrichment at all. They know what they're doing. They did it, so now they can say Iran is refusing to negotiate, something that no country can possibly agree to. And now Iran said they might be able to freeze it for 3 years. We'll see. These demands were made so Iran can refuse and Netanyahu can get the war that he wants.
My opinion is just a sterling guy, just a good guy. Excellent.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, that's my view.
Yeah.
And kind of pro-American and just couldn't be nicer and wants to do the right thing. And he's probably Trump's best friend. He and maybe Jared too are involved in a negotiation with Hamas.
Mm-hmm. Or you mean with Iran?
With Iran.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
And the Israeli government short circuits it by hitting Iran. So like
what do you mean they short circuited by hitting Iran?
They did everything they could to shut down the negotiations between the United States, the Trump administration, and Iran. And look, they're acting again in their own interest. But our country should also act in its own interest. That's all I'm saying. And so don't tell me that Bibi doesn't want a war with Iran.
He doesn't. If Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff could be successful in getting the president's demands, and keep in mind, these are the president's demands.
What are those demands?
No enrichment, no nuclear weapon, quit killing your own people in the streets by the tens of thousands. You and I both agree that it's a horrible thing to kill your own citizens, which Iran is doing.
It's a horrible thing to kill anybody's citizens.
Anybody's citizens. We agree on that.
Except that they're 14-year-olds working for Hamas, but whatever.
It's still a tragedy.
No, it is. Sorry, I'm being a jerk.
You really are being a jerk.
I am. I know.
You are being a jerk on that.
I am such a jerk.
I'm going to write down.
You're right.
Carlson
I know.
admitted.
I know.
He's a jerk.
Oh, I am a jerk. Everyone knows that. I mean, I'm really trying. Okay. No, but I agree with you 100%. Of course, it's a tragedy.
If that could be done, and I pray it can.
Yes.
And you know why? Number one, because it would be wonderful for everybody. Number two, if there is a war, you're going to be 6,000 miles from it. You know where I'm going to be? In the bullseye. Do I want there to be a war? No. Do Israelis want there to be a war? No.
How many? I keep hearing Israel's fighting a 7-front war right now. What are those 7 fronts?
Well, you got Lebanon. You have Egypt. Now, Egypt is not an active war, but you have the Muslim Brotherhood within Egypt. You've got the Muslim Brotherhood in Jordan. You've got Syria.
Wait, they're fighting a war with Jordan?
With the Muslim Brotherhood that is in Jordan, not directly with Jordan, not the government of Jordan.
But are they?
You've got Hezbollah. You've got
in Lebanon,
Houthis.
In Yemen.
You have Hamas in Gaza. You have the threats that come from Iran. And how many is that?
That's 7.
That's 7. Okay. I'll give you an 8th one. You know the 8th one? The media.
This is something that Netanyahu has been open about and talked about too. They need to win the propaganda war here as well. That's the 8th he's talking about, the media. This is basically what he's saying. Just keep sending us your money to support the war. Also make sure to cover us as we enact a genocide. Keep making excuses for us and let us expand West Bank settlement. Get rid of the Palestinians, starve them out, because if you don't do this, you're an anti-Semite. This is the game they're playing. As we all know, an anti-Semite is someone who has prejudice against Jewish people. No one is against the Jewish people, by the way. We're against the Israel government. But they conflate the two. So anyone who's not in agreement with Israeli government is now an anti-Semite. Just ask Ben Shapiro. Netanyahu talked about this in that group of Zionist influencers when he said, hey, you know the eighth front of the war is the propaganda war. And the newest weapon is, you guessed it, social media. That's why you have all these influencers calling out anyone who has the slightest negative opinion on Israel. They made sure that Larry Ellison is who bought TikTok. He is a Jew himself, hoping that they don't have to talk to Elon because they know X is a threat to their agenda. But if you ask any American, what is the biggest threat to you in America, Iran wouldn't even come up. If you like this video, please comment, subscribe. Till then, see ya.